Thanks everyone for logging on. It's obviously been a really tough week for West Australians with the fires and the lockdown. So we're really appreciative that we're getting this game underway. The players and I are really looking forward to it. It's disappointing that we can't have a crowd there, but we understand the reasons why. And we're sure that our supporters will tune in and watch this RAC Derby with great interest. And I know Daniel and myself will be hoping that both teams put on a really good show.
Trent, Jake from 6PR here, mate. Hope you're well. Obviously, a good showing in the first round. Looking to back that up again on Sunday. Are there any injury concerns with your mob ahead of the Derby?
No, we think we got through relatively unscathed. It's been a bit difficult because we haven't been able to get or our medical team haven't been able to get hands on the players. So we'll do that for the first time tonight. We think we'll be okay in that regard, but until we really, the medical team can have a good look at them, we can't be certain of that. But so far, so good.
A strong showing. What do you want to see more from your side on Sunday?
We're wrapped with that, and we held structure really well. Probably our skills let us down a bit when we went back and reviewed it. Probably could have hit a few more targets. So I think that was a credit to GWS and the pressure they applied, but also probably just round one, bit of nerves, being a bit rusty. So hopefully we can improve that aspect of the game this week.
Bit of rain around this weekend. Will you get a chance to train in the wet tomorrow ahead of Sunday, or will that be a different challenge for your side?
That'll be a different challenge. I think it's unusual, but the whole state are cheering for rain, hopefully to help with the bushfires. So we'll be wrapped if we're playing in wet conditions for that reason. We're going to train tonight. It'll be a late session because we can't get there till later on tonight. But then tomorrow will be just a very light recovery day. So we won't do any training in the wet, but we're sure the girls will adjust quickly if they are the conditions on Sunday.
What's the week like been for you, and can you run us through what was going through your mind last Sunday when rumours of lockdown were starting and then it was announced on Sunday? What was going through your mind, and what has this week looked like?
The lot was going through my mind on Sunday when we didn't know even if we could be taking off to the eastern states. So we just had to keep the girls focused during that point. And then there's a lot of information after the game. This week, it's been different. At home with a 3-year-old and 1-year-old, it's got plenty of challenges on its own. So working through that's been good fun. And the girls have been really good in completing their programs. They've only been able to go outside for an hour, but they've really worked hard in that hour when they've been out. We've just kept in contact. Zoom quiz night, organised by Gabby O'Sullivan. It was good fun, just keeping the spirits up. And the spirits went right up today when we found out that we're going to get a game this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. Go well. Cheers.
Trent, what's it going to be like for you guys crowd-wise?
Fortunately, we've had a bit of experience with it. We played against the Western Bulldogs away without a crowd, and we also played in our first final at home against Gold Coast without a crowd. I remember at the time I was a bit worried because we love the energy that the Purple Army bring, but the group made a pact at that stage to lift without them, and knowing that they'll be tuning in through whatever medium that they watch it on, and the same will be this week. Our supporters had 4,000 there last week and 37 degrees, so they're a really loyal bunch and they make a lot of noise. That won't be there this weekend, but we know that they'll be with us, and the girls are now used to playing in those conditions, so that won't affect us at all.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, Trent, it's Jimmy from 9. Just wondering, could you just talk me through what you got the girls to do this week and how tough it was for them to train, and how excited are they to get back on the track tonight?
Yeah, it was interesting because the ones in pairs, it's not too bad. So the few that live with either with each other or with other people who are capable of having a kick with them was good because they could go out and Kate Starr, our high performance manager, had already done a similar program for Cara and Ebony Antonio when they were in quarantine after coming back from Victoria. So they did that. For the individuals, it was a bit harder. I know, Jenna Houghton just had to kick the ball to herself and go and chase it and get it back and have a few bounces and different things. But they've just been reporting in, still got plenty of Ks in the legs and different things like that. But for the 1 week, I don't think it'll make a huge difference. It would have been if it dragged on and on. But for 1 week, we really only missed 2 sessions, and one of those would have been a light recovery session. So I don't think it'll have too big an impact.
It's obviously been a tough week for people out in the east and suburbs. Obviously, the bushfires have ravaged a lot of people and a lot of communities and homes. What's the plan in sort of donating for those people affected?
Yeah, well, first of all, RAC, who are the sponsor of the RAC Derby, they've really come to the fore. They're donating $500 for every mark taken, and I think it's $2,000 for every goal. So that's fantastic. So we'll be trying to contribute as much as possible to that. And last week, it would have been a fair bit. In some ways, we're hoping that there's plenty of rain this week and we don't get as many marks and goals, because that'll be good news for the Fires as well. But we'll be doing our best to keep that ticking over to help the community who've been so badly affected by the fires.
And just one final one from me, Trent. How this is a bit of deja vu, I guess, for you and your team. How have you kept the girls on task? How have you kept them focused without actually knowing that who and when and where they were going to be playing this weekend? Yeah,
like you pointed out, we've sort of had that experience last year going to that Gold Coast final. We didn't know who we were playing, and we thought it was GWS or Melbourne or North Melbourne, and the last minute was Gold Coast. So this week we thought we're playing Adelaide, but we knew that West Coast were a strong possibility. They've been really focused and they've been quite relaxed, having gone through it before, and that's the way to be. You can't worry about things you can't control, but just ready to go. And then as soon as that announcement was made today, you could just tell by the group's WhatsApp chat that they were switched on and ready to go.
Daniel, obviously you got to look at Fremantle in the pre-season match. You guys played against them and really matched it with them for the first half. How much sort of confidence would you take out of a performance like that, and sort of knowing that what they sort of look like going into this weekend?
Yeah, we're really happy with the performance of the girls that day. That was really the first opportunity. We were pressure tested with some of the new things that we've put in place with our game style and our brand. So really happy with that performance. And similarly on Saturday, we're only for the first half, but we're getting into a position where we're now looking to push that for longer and longer in games. So it's good for us to come up against another good opposition like Freo, who are probably the form team of last year and no different to start the season. So we'll get pressure tested again, which is really good for our girls to see where we're at.
And sustaining that brand for longer and longer, how do you sort of go about coaching that in a week as unusual as this?
Yeah, at the moment, we just have to tell them to do it. So we haven't had an opportunity to train this week. So similar to Coops, we'll get some girls in tonight. We're off a little bit of a different prep than them. We played the day before. So we'll train tomorrow in the morning and have a little bit of a run around then, and taking some of our learnings from last week into this game. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to train, but it's given us a great opportunity to educate the girls with the technology now. So in some ways, them being at home has actually helped with the off-field education. It's just whether that translates onto the field for longer, that's what we'll find out on Sunday.
And just a question for you and Trent. Obviously, you've both had players in Emma Swanson and Evie Gooch who've been, battling the horrendous fires out in Perth East. Any ideas whether those girls might get up for this game yet?
Well, I think Swanee's got today off, Emma, so that's a good result for us. So she can freshen up. Trent's probably in the same position with Gooch in that things can change rapidly. So like him, we're hoping for the rain, but I'm sure everyone with the donations that are going to come from RAC are hoping for no rain and goals and marks. So Obviously, if we can get Emma to play this week, that'd be fantastic. But the Fires are obviously the priority for the community at the moment. So if she can't play for that circumstance, then she'll go and do her job for the community.
Yeah, similar to with Evie, she is rostered to be off on Sunday, but as we know, there are bigger things at play. So if she's called in, we'll definitely be supporting that. She's been a bit embarrassed by the coverage of it because, in her eyes, she's just doing her job, one of the hundreds of firefighters. But she's had a lot of attention because she's playing footy. We're stoked to have her in our team. Similarly, I'm sure Pratty is with Emma, that we've got people who are willing to play footy and sacrifice there, but give so much back to the rest of the community. So hopefully we see both girls out there on Sunday, but if they're not, they're doing something more important.
Daniel, can I get your thoughts on how no crowd might affect you guys?
Well, I think we've trained all pre-season with no crowd. So we played Freo in a scratch match with no crowd. So from that point of view, we're well prepped, and so are they. So I don't think it's really going to affect the outcome too much. Obviously, playing at their home ground, I'm sure they want to have a crowd, but as we sort of touched on with Fires, there's bigger things at play at the moment, and the health of the community is more important. So if it's no crowd, then we'll deal with that, and we'll prepare our players as best we can to make sure that they can perform on game day.
Ciao.
Dan, just one for you. Fremantle look like a team, or they are a team who's been able to score so well, but defenders so well as well. How do you go about getting your team to attack a little bit more efficiently and getting a higher score on the board?
One of the greatest challenges over the short time the women's competition's been around is being able to score, and I think Trent's unlocked some of that, and so is Adelaide, who we played on the weekend. So North did it on, I think, Saturday as well. So if we can look at some of the things that they're able to do, obviously having some of the talent that Trent's got forward, we've got some really talented girls in our forward line as well. So then it comes down to getting the ball in there and giving them enough opportunities. And on the weekend, we probably gave the girls enough opportunity, but we gave Adelaide far too much the other way, in particular that third quarter. So I think it was 15 inside 50s to 1 or something for the quarter. So for us, it's minimising the opportunities and for the opposition and then gaining as much as we can from that point of view. And I think once we do that a little bit more, our girls will have a better look at and more consistency with their scoring.
How hard's it been to review the game, given you haven't had access to your players?
It's been somewhat difficult, but only in the sense of being face-to-face with them. Fortunately, from my point of view, I was involved with some of the stuff last year with the men's program. So using these platforms to educate, we've done that before. So we rolled some of that out this week with the girls, and we're able to get some real clarity and alignment with the development of our game plan and style. Only being, it was a bit of 13th or 14th week in, but we don't get on the track. So got to review it pretty well in depth, and we're able to stay in contact all through the week with different activities, a bit of fun with these sort of platforms, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and things like that.
How have you kept the girls motivated this week? It's obviously been so hard, not being able to train. They've obviously been able to go and do 1 hour outside. They must be pretty pumped to get back to training. And just clarifying, you're not training tonight. You'll do a session tomorrow morning. Is that right?
Yeah, so I'll just start with that. Yeah, so we're going to have a run around tomorrow morning. And there's a few girls who we just need to assess tonight off the game. Obviously, that's probably the most difficult thing with managing their bodies physically, is having a look at them. So we have a few girls in after 6 tonight, and then do a couple of bits and pieces. And then the motivation during the week, we've got quite a young squad. So you throw a couple of things out for them to get involved in, a bit of fun, and they take it to the next level, the girls. So it's actually been really entertaining for me, and we've kept each other entertained. And, there's definitely people in worse situations than what we're in at the moment. So I think the girls are understanding of that. And just fortunate we get to play a game of footy this weekend.
Can you just walk us through a couple of the things you did with the team just to keep them engaged and keep them fresh?
No, I don't want to give Trent any of my secrets. So, no, we're just getting the hands on footy and sending through some videos of how they're doing it and things like that. So, nothing too outrageous, Jimmy.
Thanks, mate.
Trent, you touched on the fact that Gemma Howden had a bit of a different preparation this week, but going off how good she was last week, you wouldn't think she'd be out of form this week. She was ultimately voted the fans' MVP for player for round one. She's been a premier player in the competition for a while, but how impressed were you with her performance last week?
Yeah, I think all of our players were pretty happy that they didn't have to train with Gemma this week because she would have told everyone how good she was last week. So they were quite happy that they went in that pair. No, she was fantastic. Yeah, her game, it was a different level. And I think it's a Swamp Thing. A lot of people know on Twitter put up some stats that to have more than 10 bounces, 20 touches, 3 goals, there's only about 5 or 6 players in the men's comp had ever done that. So for Gemma to do that in about 65% of the game time is a phenomenal achievement. And we're so happy for her because she worked really hard over this pre-season. So we're hoping it would translate to show that the work was worthwhile, and it definitely did. And she won't be able to perform that at that level every week, but what she will be able to do is bring that effort. And this week it might be someone else's turn for a lick of the ice cream. But yeah, as long as she keeps bringing that effort, we'll be stoked.
You touched on the work she put in pre-season. From the sounds of things, it was just really improving her endurance, and we saw that in the game. She was just that real traditional centre-half forward, covering a lot of ground, but still making an impact around the goals with 3 for the game.
Yeah, the last couple of pre-seasons, she probably hasn't come in quite as fit and has been playing catch-up. This off-season, she did a lot of work with Elisa Webb, just one-on-one running, and yeah, so came into our pre-season really fit. So she was just straight into the footy. And yeah, we were hoping that she'd go to another level based on her work. And so far the evidence is looking good.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Pratty, I'll just squeeze in one for you, mate. Steve mentioned that, obviously one of the challenges is putting together a good score, but with the Dockers forward line in players like Houghton and Roxy and Sabrina Duffy, how do you go about defending a forward line that dangerous?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned earlier, not letting it down there is a great start to stopping people getting involved. But I think the way I've looked to work with our backline coach has been fantastic. Andrew Di Loreto, he's brought some of his beliefs to the backline and how we should defend and building a system that can cater for either individuals or the collective. So we've been really happy with how the girls have progressed with that. Obviously, being relatively new, there's going to be some periods where they don't get it right. So like our game, the rest of our game plan and brand, we're just looking for some more consistency than a half of football, which we've been able to put together in our last 2 hit-outs. But it's going to get tested again this week with probably the highest scoring team over the last 12 or 18 months. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully the conditions suit us in that regard. But it's going to be a great challenge and great learning for some of our younger backs.
All right. Any finals? Otherwise, we'll wrap there.
I might just go one quick one for Pratty. Is the club organising anything as part of fundraising for the victims of the bushfires?
Yeah, I know the clubs, along with RAC, and I'm sure Freo know different, we're pushing the Lord Mayor's appeal quite hard in the social media space and comm space. Once everything settles down, particularly with, I guess, COVID as well, I know that the club are really keen to get their hands dirty on in that space and help out where they can. So we'll keep you posted publicly, obviously, on what we do in the coming weeks. But I know that in the background there's talks of how we can get involved. So I'm sure Freo are doing the same thing, which is really good for the community.